Hey everybody, it's Mandy Ray of Ecstatic Astrology here to give you the weekly update for Monday, November 15th through November 22nd. Actually, let's just scoot that to November 16th since I'm recording this at 8:48 p.m. on Tuesday, November 16th, which has been a full day in its own right. The moon was in Aries most of today. It squared Pluto, it sextiled Jupiter, the sun sextiled Pluto. Just a lot of focus on our inner authority and power and our beliefs and what we do with those things. Mars has also built in Scorpio, Mars is in Scorpio, has started building to an opposition with Uranus and Taurus, which is, it can be explosive, it can be upending. It is definitely something that I would call earth shaking. That's the best way to describe it. Mars is our willpower. In Scorpio, it just really wants to get what it wants, and it can be quite obsessive. It can be unwilling to let go of a battle. It's also very investigative. It wants to get to the core of a problem. That's Mars and Scorpio. Uranus and Taurus is also quite committed to upsetting the apple cart. It's the liberator, the revolutionary, and it's in the place that we feel the most comfort, Taurus, what we value, what we love, what we find comfortable. So Tuesday has been a building up of energy already. And this week is a lunar eclipse. Friday, actually Thursday night into Friday in the US happens around 3 a.m. in Central Time, so maybe 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, if I'm not mistaken. But I would get up like an hour before that just to be ready to see it, because you can see it if it's not cloudy where you are. And this lunar eclipse is really bringing in the start, at least, of the end of a chapter. And not just that, but actually other astrology that's happening this week is reflective. It is meant to say we are polishing, we are synthesizing, we are finishing a storyline. Now, we go into Wednesday, the 17th, and this gets complicated. Let me pull up my notes because it's a very dense week. It's a dense day. And when I say dense, I mean it's packed in, meaty. There is a lot of astrology and a lot of probably thoughts, feelings that we're all going to encounter, especially depending on your own chart, which, by the way, on my blog, which is already up, you can go look at where the eclipse is for you at the end of the blog. And you can even follow along with this if you want. This video, it's up already. So Wednesday the 17th, we wake with the moon in Taurus, which, by the way, it's just moved into Taurus as I'm recording this around just before 9 p.m. on November 16th. The moment it moves into Taurus, we're talking eclipse territory because it's the full moon in Taurus that is actually the lunar eclipse. Also, the moment it moves into Taurus, it moves towards a conjunction with Uranus. Now, let's break this down. In fact, I'm going to show the chart because I think I have to. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. This is November 17th at 11:23 a.m. Central Time. That's what I've got. So the moon's in Taurus. Let me get my little pointer. Here we go. Let me just take a deep breath. This is anxious energy. I'm feeling it. I got my flu shot Monday. It kind of kicked my butt, and I'm feeling better today, but it's still been busy because I've been playing catch up, and it's just building. It's just building and building. And this week builds starting Tuesday. The weekend, by the way, felt really peaceful, but starting Tuesday and Wednesday, it just, whew, it gets where your nerves, Mars represents your body. Mars is inflammation, and it is very much related to the nervous system, as Mercury is, and they're both very close to each other in Scorpio. And so also the moon and Uranus are opposite. So that's where I started with my notes, was the moon moving into Taurus. And when we wake up, it's already starting to move towards Uranus. Okay. What does that mean? Uranus and Taurus is shifting our value system, what we love, what we cherish, what we find comfortable. The moon moving towards it is, okay, emotions, moon, awareness of this shift. We can have emotional upheavals. We can have emotional epiphanies, okay? But that's not all. No, that's not all. Mars is throwing us a curveball. Y'all, I'm a nerd, okay? I'm such a nerd. I told a client today, same bat time, same bat station. She was just like, anyway, Mars in Scorpio, this is our willpower, our action, and we're really seeing through to the core of what we desire, okay? And that itself is becoming activated by this moon Uranus opposition. So you can't really say what's going to be what. I mean, are we going to become aware of desires, or are our deepest desires going to be aware that they're changing? You know, something like that. But also a willingness to fight for your self-worth, a willingness to say, I'm not going to put up with that anymore. Now, let's just talk about, I've got Wednesday, November 17th up. Tuesday, when I'm recording this, the sun was sextile Pluto. The moon had moved through Aries, square Pluto, which is what has authority over me. Pluto is still going to be active this week. Pluto went into Capricorn in 2008. Saturn went into Capricorn in 2017. Jupiter went into Capricorn in 2019. All three of them met up in Capricorn in January 19th, 2020. I think it was January 19th. And now we've got Venus in Capricorn, which is why there's a blue arrow here to show us what is coming. And that is trining Pluto, Uranus and the moon. See, like I've got all my planets mixed up because there's so much going on. Okay, so Mars, Uranus opposition, explosive, upheaval, liberation, revolution. We're not going to take the same thing anymore. We want a better world. We want more money. We want better food. We want to take care of the earth. That's all Uranus and Taurus. Mars and Scorpio is like, we're done with it. We're going to do this. This is how we want to move forward. This is our true desire. Venus and Capricorn is kind of like, I'm screaming the same thing. Okay. Venus is coming into a trine with Uranus around this time, and it's loosely sextile Mars. Now, the interesting thing is these blue connections that I have highlighted here, those are good generally. A trine is a supportive connection. A sextile is an opportunistic connection. So this is not like the Mars-Uranus opposition, which they can trigger each other. This is more like we're working together, okay? So Venus trine Uranus is like, yeah, I think this should shift. And, you know, all this work we did with Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter coming together through the last 3-4 years, more if you look toward 2008 when Pluto entered Capricorn, Venus is coming in to like polish it all up, because Venus is going to go retrograde in December. And in fact, it begins to move towards its shadow, meaning it will meet the degree that it goes past, but then revisits on its retrograde. So, I mean, starting Wednesday, November 17th. We haven't even gotten to the eclipse yet, y'all. This is crazy. Venus is like, yeah, we're ready to do this revolution thing, okay? And it's sextile Mars, which is like action. Mars is opposite Uranus, is just like, we got to flip over the money table. If you know the story of Jesus in the Bible, he gets so mad because there are people charging money in his church. And that's not what church was for, is what he said when he flipped over the money tables. And that's what this is, y'all. I've recorded so many takes of this video. I'm not sure what I've said yet. So I'm just going to keep going. You're going to always get authenticity from me. I'm never going to not be real. It's just, in fact, that's what this really highlights. Being your authentic self, being that real human, because ultimately the truth is going to show, the truth is going to shine through. Okay. And speaking of, Jupiter will come into play as well, which is truth. So this is just Wednesday. Venus coming in to go retrograde is going to polish up the Capricorn area. It's very important. The Taurus area has been very active as well. That will be where the full moon lunar eclipse is. It's also the place that has been square to Saturn all year. Saturn in Aquarius square Uranus. They will square again in December. And then we also look at Scorpio. Guess what? The eclipse node, the south node, is going to move into Scorpio. All three of these places are important. If I could, I cannot stress enough to learn your chart, learn your rising sign. Super easy. If you don't know, message me, email me. I will tell you, I will send you your chart. I'll just say, send me your birthday. I'll send you your chart. You need to know your rising sign. You need to know that to start with. It's the most important thing. I write all of my things from the rising sign because that determines what area of your life this stuff will happen in. And if you'll go forward on my blog, it's got the lunar eclipse rising signs. It'll talk about the Taurus area. It'll talk about the Gemini area. And what we're doing this week is we're wrapping up storylines. We're having epiphanies. We're changing our lives. And that leads me to this beautiful quote that I shared today that I'm going to share with you. What happens when you let an unsatisfactory present go on long enough? It becomes your entire history. I'm here to tell you, not many people will do this during these transits. Nope. Many people will not be able to avoid getting out of an unsatisfactory present. That is going to be the case worldwide during this transit. Mars opposite Uranus is also implicated in many, many explosive events. I always tell people to watch their bodies around this time. Like I tell people I wouldn't go skydiving. Someone actually mentioned that to me today. And I've never had anyone mention it. And someone actually mentioned it. And I was like, no. No, not today. Not on this date, please. Mars is your body and Uranus is unexpected events. Okay. Mars is also a fire planet. Now, granted, it's in a water sign in Scorpio, but then we got, I think of volcanoes. Like I think of liquid lava when we're talking about fixed water. And I expect something to pop off worldwide. I do find it interesting, and I don't know, I haven't looked at the news. I have not even had time to look at the news today. But I do know that they're getting closer to a verdict in the Kenosha, Washington events with the young man that killed 2 protesters. This is a highly charged event, and it's getting close to happening on the Mars-Uranus opposition Wednesday. So these things are going to come up. We're probably going to see the Uranus Saturn square pop off again with Mars opposite. Okay. And all of this is also a judgment time, a synthesizing time, an evaluation time of everything we've learned over the last couple of years. And we're deciding on what to keep, what to get rid of. And that's what's going on. Okay, that's just Wednesday. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything for Wednesday. I'm not even lying. It's crazy. If you're feeling unhinged on Wednesday, this would be the reason. Okay. By the way, Venus will be in Capricorn until next year, until March. So it's going to be there, and it's going to help us synthesize, review, and assess the lessons we've learned and how our values have evolved. I say in my blog to pay specific attention to the evening when the moon exactly trines Venus and then meets Uranus to oppose Mars. Mercury also trines Neptune overnight, making for an active dream world and intuitive messages while we sleep. So, in my opinion, as we go to bed Wednesday night, even probably in the middle of Wednesday, things start to get strange. We're in an eclipse portal, and eclipses are fated events. This one happens to be a lunar eclipse. That's our soul, that's our inner feelings, our empathy, our intuition. So it's already active, even though the eclipse is not till Thursday overnight into Friday. We're talking Wednesday, we start to get into like woo territory, okay? Thursday, November 18th, we've got obviously the eclipse portal, like I said, we're going into it. And look, if you're not a woo-woo person, I say portal and it bothers you, don't be bothered. A portal is just a door. And this is an eclipse door, whether or not you believe it does anything or not. We're moving into the time between two eclipses, the lunar and the solar eclipse, the lunar November 19th, solar December 4th. Okay, that's enough of that. So the moon early morning Thursday is in Taurus. It has a few things to take care of before it gets the eclipse, okay? First, it opposes Mercury in Scorpio. That's our mind and our gut. Are they fighting? I don't know. An opposition to me is more of an awareness, more of a time to bring things together. So maybe we understand something that we didn't before about both of these places that oppose each other. Be aware that Mars and Uranus close by and in opposition could make us prone to emotional verbal outbursts. See, Mercury is our speech. It's the way we talk. The moon is our emotions. When they're opposite each other and we also have this other explosive thing going on, it's like you may not be able to keep a lid on it, even if your life depended on it. Sometimes that's what this can come out as. Okay, secrets can be revealed, right? So also, the moon in Taurus is sextile to, and Mercury is trining Neptune. Okay, let me break this down. Mercury's trining Neptune most of the day. This can be magical, mystical, but also bizarre. It can be confusing. It can be pulling the wool over people's eyes. Depends on your chart and who you are, honestly, and your part in this story. But if you're aware of it, you know, you may not be taken by the more negative and may be more prone to the manifestation of, oh, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to write a song or paint or something like that. Okay, so Mercury trining Neptune, insight. Simultaneously, the moon in Taurus is making an opportunistic sextile to Neptune. So this truly can be like intuition on a way to move, especially in terms of like, let's say our assets or money or investments. Just beware of like, perhaps being like, I wouldn't enter into a loan during this, but I would if I had the money. maybe buy something that you know is going to gain in assets, okay? And that's just like a random example. I'm trying to explain the difference because there is a possibility of having a moment of questioning yourself with Neptune involved. But ultimately, it just makes the day feel strange, I think, especially going into this eclipse portal. And I don't mean strange in necessarily a bad way. Strange can be great, depending on who you are. And that's what Thursday is going to feel like eerie, I think. In the evening, Venus makes its exact and liberating trine with Uranus. So this has been happening for a few days, but it's exact in the evening on Thursday. Also, out of left field things happening. And then the moon in Taurus squares Jupiter in the evening and trines Pluto. See, I told you the moon had a lot of business to take care of. Actually, I don't know if I told you that on the video, but I said it in the newsletter. I said, the moon has a lot to take care of first. And it did. And in the evening, it's squaring Jupiter and Aquarius, so just big feelings. Should I stay or should I go? Bum, 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 bum. You know, Pluto and Capricorn, it's trying that. My personal empowerment. What are my boundaries? What are the rules? How do I want to build this structure? So it'll be focusing on what we believe to be our truth and perhaps what we might need to change to feel personally empowered. Now I'm going to talk about the eclipse. So I got to Thursday evening. Now don't forget the eclipse happens overnight. It spans a large portion of the chart. The full moon's at 27 degrees of Taurus, but the north node, which is the eclipse point, is at 1 degree of Gemini. Let me share the chart with you. I actually have it all pulled up. Don't I? Maybe. Actually, hold on. My chair's loud. Sorry, y'all. I try to be professional. Okay, here we go. This is the lunar eclipse full moon chart. All right. Let me explain. Oh, there's my video. Okay. Get my little pointer out. I like my spotlight. Here we go. There's the sun. There's the moon. They're opposite. That's a full moon. Okay. This is the eclipse point. It's the node. It's where something like an ecliptic plane does something with something else. I know one of my teachers would have my head for that. I do my best. Shadows fall on the luminaries. So in this case, the Earth is between the sun and the moon. When we have a solar eclipse, the moon and the sun are together, and the moon is in front of the sun in between the Earth and the sun, okay? So this one is a lunar eclipse. The Earth's shadow is being cast on the moon, and it's, people call it a blood moon. It's not exact. It's not an exact eclipse. And here you can see that because the node is at 1 degree of Gemini. So it's in 2 different signs, even though it's an eclipse. These are the eclipse buddies. This is how an eclipse happens, is these 2 things together. So that means Gemini, which is where the eclipse has been for 18 months, I think. Look, no one's going to call me the exact astrologer, okay? It doesn't matter. We're talking about that. And the South Node's been in Sagittarius for about that long. Well, next year in January, the North Node moves into Taurus. They move backwards around the zodiac. And the South Node will move into Scorpio. So this is like a preview eclipse, okay? It's a preview to next year, but also like a wrapping up in some way. I've been saying the Sagittarius Gemini eclipses are about letting go of old narratives that do not serve us, that are limiting, old storylines ending, writing new stories in Gemini. Here we are. The preview comes in this area where Taurus is. And so if you look at my blog, which is at ecstaticastrology.com, and it'll be in my link tree and everywhere, like I'll have it linked everywhere. Just go look at your rising sign, what these two things mean. This is closing a chapter that really began in May, June, maybe even before that if you look at some of the other eclipses, but definitely May and June. And this is the first of two eclipses, one November 19th, the next December 4th. Okay. And the December 4th one will be in only Sagittarius. So this eclipse is also loosely square Jupiter and loosely trine Pluto. And Jupiter is belief and truth. And you can tell there's tension here between what we believe to be true, maybe how those beliefs are changing, and what reality actually looks like, and how that's been changing, and how do we shift these things in our lives. And also, we know we're writing a new story. That is absolutely not in question with the North Node in Gemini. We're writing a new story. Okay, also, Mars has opposed Uranus by this time. Mercury by this time has also trined Neptune there. And it's actually coming into a sextile with Pluto and a square with Jupiter. Same thing that the full moon's doing, basically, except trine and square. The point is we're interacting around these points, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius. It's a T-square. And a T-square is requiring action. What's missing? Leo. There's nothing in Leo. Leo is our purpose, our heart, our feelings of creativity and inner child and children. And so that's a good place to put an outlet on Thursday, Friday. Having fun, children. What do we find brings us joy? Ultimately, that's how we need to be heading. Like heading to anything but your joy is a futile, we're not going to be happy, and what are we doing process. Okay. That being said, you can see Venus is also trine to Uranus at this time. And this is definitely like the realization that in order to build a structure that even makes any sense, we have to shift our values because what we've been doing isn't sustainable. The last time Uranus was in Taurus was the Great Depression. We had to overhaul a lot, right? It's the same thing again. We're overhauling. Okay. Let me stop this share here. Go back to my notes. And of course, my allergies are starting to kick up because why wouldn't they? It's probably not a first for YouTube, but whatever. All right. Let's get through this. I love you guys. I'm sorry about that. So I would just expect dreams all week. And I would pay attention to our dreams all week. Friday, November 19th, the moon moves into Gemini pretty quickly. So you saw how close it was to Gemini. And it's still going to be oriented towards eclipse energy because it's also moving towards the North Node early in the day. So things are turning mercurial. And we could have multiple aha moments throughout this Friday. The moon is also applying to a trine with Saturn all day. And this indicates the willingness to establish a future-oriented framework. So, the question of what we're building is coming through in multiple ways. Okay. Saturday, November 20th, the moon is still in Gemini today and will be in conjunct Mars in Scorpio and Venus in Capricorn. This is known as a yod, the finger of God. And it's like, if you want to write a new story, you got to be clear on your values and clear on your desires. clear on how you receive and clear on how you act. So it's pretty intellectual. Also, Mercury is in Scorpio sextile Pluto and square Jupiter. And I alluded to that earlier. And this is also very mental energy. We're thinking about where we allow our authority to be taken from us and what our beliefs are about the future. So being open-minded, I say, talk to a friend or a counselor on Saturday. This is post-eclipse, even though we're still sort of under the influence of the eclipse, we're definitely not out of the woods. So it's really like we know the answer, but sometimes we don't realize it until we hear ourselves say it out loud. The moon squares Neptune overnight, another dream-filled sleep. Okay, so let's get this back up here. Sunday. What's going on Sunday? Sunday. The mental energy persists as we wake up with the moon in Gemini, trining Jupiter in Aquarius, and Mercury holding steady to its connections with Jupiter and Pluto. Okay, yeah, so you can tell this just holds. And then the moon goes void, of course, on Sunday. So just like not doing anything is what Sunday is for. Sunday is for synthesizing all of the things that maybe happened during the eclipse or maybe didn't happen, or awareness, or anger, or whatever it is. That's what Sunday is for. So yeah, zone out that day if you're able to. It sure would be cool if you would be. Meditate, rest, synthesize. It's also the last degree of the sun in Scorpio. So it moves into Sagittarius at dinner time, and then the moon moves into Cancer Sunday night. So it's very much nurture your nerves with a bath or some other calming, soul nourishing ritual on Sunday evening. Monday is the first full day, the 22nd, the first full day of Sagittarius season. It's a time we celebrate life. We talk about beliefs with those we gather with. And then keep in mind, we're in between eclipses, and the next eclipse is in Sagittarius. So anything that happens during this time is pretty meaningful to our story, or maybe the story that we're deleting, that we're saying no longer serves us. So the moon is in Cancer today, which will give us even more rest and relaxation. Not totally. The sun is in Sagittarius, which is like a pack of wild horses, but it is encouraging nourishment, and it doesn't make many aspects on Monday. So it's not nearly as busy of a Monday as it was this week. It will sextile Uranus and Taurus at bedtime, but that allows like a feeling of emotional liberation and revolution. Okay, so go to my blog to read your rising sign if you feel so moved, and I appreciate you making it through this wobbly, crazy update, but that's how I feel. And I could come back and do another one, and I might. Maybe I'll do a live Q&A if you guys are interested. Either way, I wish you the best through this eclipse. And don't forget, we're writing a new story somewhere. And it really rests on a new radical sense of self-worth. And don't forget this quote. Let me share it again, because this is really the bee's knees. What happens when you let an unsatisfactory present go on long enough? It becomes your entire history or herstory. All right, you guys, have a good one. All my love. Please let me know if you have any questions. Good night.